It was 1991. In a quiet lab in Switzerland, a proposal was drafted. It wasn't for a weapon or a new form of energy. It was for a mesh of information, a worldwide web. It was a way to link every computer and every mind together. And in our timeline, it was quietly canceled. A budget committee deemed it unscalable. A security review flagged it as uncontrollably porous. It was dismissed as a flight of academic fancy, a solution in search of a problem. The funding was pulled. The project was shuttered. The team was reassigned. The world, completely unaware of the door that had just closed, simply moved on. But the human need to connect, to share, to know, that didn't vanish. It just stayed small. It stayed local. It stayed physical. Information was a place you went to, not a utility that came to you. Local area networks and bulletin boards became the domain of hobbyists, a digital, secret handshake for those in the know, swapping software and messages on floppy disks, their modems screaming in the night. But this was a high-friction world. It was a subculture, not the culture. For everyone else, the titans of physical media became the most powerful corporations on Earth. Blockbuster, Kodak, Tower Records. These weren't just stores. They were cultural cathedrals. The 90s boomed on a wave of plastic and silver. Why stream a song when you could own the CD? Feel the weight of the jewel case, unfold the liner notes like a map. Why share a photo when you could hold the glossy chemical proof of a memory in your hand, a moment captured and made real? Data networks did exist, but they were walled gardens, proprietary and slow, owned by telephone companies. They were for checking bank balances, or train schedules, or the Dow Jones. They were tools for commerce, not for conversation, not for revolution. The 21st century arrived, and miniaturization continued. We got very, very good at cramming data onto physical objects. We built powerful, beautiful devices, but without the web to tie them all together. Technology took a very different, very physical path. Our smart devices were isolated. They were digital libraries, not digital windows. The Franklin Enchiridion 5000 was a marvel. It had a calculator, a calendar, a high-resolution camera, but every new function, a map of Chicago, the entire 2008 World Encyclopedia, a new album, required a new piece of physical media, a new cartridge, a new disc, a new purchase. Our pockets were full of tiny, expensive plastic cartridges. We craved connection, but it remained tactile, and it took effort. Global pen pal services, run by postal conglomerates, became a billion-dollar industry. The 24-hour news cycle existed, but it was a one-way street, a monologue from a handful of trusted, monolithic anchors. There was no Twitter to talk back. There was no comment section. There was just the broadcast. And then, the crisis. When the world was forced to isolate, our analog society fractured. Working from home was a privilege for the few. For most, it was a logistical nightmare. It meant a company-issued fax machine, a multi-line telephone, and a daily essential courier running a gauntlet of empty streets, a data runner, moving stacks of floppy disks and zip drives from one home to the next. Misinformation wasn't faster, but it was deeper. It didn't spread as a viral post. It spread as a badly photocopied samizdat newsletter, or as a rumor that became fact by the time it crossed the city. The App Store was a literal physical store. You went to a data technician at your local Radio Shack or Best Buy, who would, for a fee, load new software onto your device with a physical cable. This was how you got upgrades. And so we arrive at today, an alternate 2025, a world that is both futuristic and frozen in time, a world of high-speed maglev trains and handwritten letters. Information is localized. A university library might have a local net, a digital catalog of its own physical books, but it cannot see the catalog of the library one town over. To find a single obscure fact, you must begin a physical quest. Research isn't a 10-minute query. It's a career. Corporations employ information brokers whose entire job is to travel to different archives, accessing physical and local net data. The modern office is a marvel of analog engineering, a machine of paper and wires and air. Pneumatic tubes whisk documents between floors, the thwump of their arrival, the rhythm of the workday. Data is something you must physically process. A database is a room, a vast temperature-controlled hall of filing cabinets and data cartridge racks, managed by a team of archivists. A file search means submitting a paper request. Socializing is an act of commitment. You must go to the coffee shop. You must wait for a free line at the futuristic, soundproof polymer phone booth. You must put a stamp on your thoughts, your anger, your love, your ideas, and send them on a slow physical journey, waiting days or weeks for a reply. The anticipation is a character in every relationship. Entertainment is a pilgrimage. The video store didn't die, it evolved. The Blockbuster World is a 3-story cathedral of media. It has a cafe, it has listening booths. It's where you meet your friends on a Friday night. Streaming is a word we still reserve for rivers. News and media are centralized. The paper of record holds immense, unquestioned power. Without a billion voices shouting online, the authority of these analog institutions is total. The culture is monolithic. Trust is absolute, but change is glacial. Commerce is not a click. It is an experience, a conversation, a relationship. You trust the things you can touch. Travel is an adventure, plotted by specialists, travel agents, who have access to the complex, closed-off reservation networks. To book a flight is to put your trust in a human being. This world is not a utopia. It's not a dystopia. It is simply slower, more deliberate, more localized, more present. We would have missed out on a universe of instant information, of global, real-time connection. We would be poorer in data, but perhaps richer in focus. But maybe we would have avoided the noise, the echo chambers, the tribalism, the endless, anxious scroll. It's a world that forces you to be here, to be bored, and to let that boredom spark something, to be quiet. A world that forces you to just look out the window, not as an escape, but as an activity. A world that forces you to wonder.